Welcome to Hoop Sense. I'm your host, Trey Edwards, and I'm joined by Mike Zakarian.
Let's go. What's going on? We've been talking about this for a while now. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, man. We're finally here. You know, a lot of people have been, is it going to be a podcast?
Yeah.
What are you guys going to be doing? Is it hot takes?
Yeah. No, we're not going to. Well, I think there might be hot takes, but they're going to be educated hot takes, right? That's what we're talking about. We're going to have some educational hot takes.
Mm-hmm.
Not clippable hot takes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Yeah. We're not trying to piss anybody off. This is positive talk. But for the most part, you know, some good hoop sense.
That's right. Hoop sense. Hence the name.
Well, you know, the people didn't come to see us talk about that. They want to jump right into the game.
Yo, you don't think they wanted a full hour of us breaking down how we came up with the name?
Absolutely not.
All right.
All right. So, I mean, now that that's out the way, we can focus on, you know, the things in hand. First of all, let's get into the teams of the week.
Let's do it. I'm excited about this because I feel like we had to talk so much in the preseason about like, will they, won't they for so many different teams. And now we actually have like a week of basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm here for the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
I am. I last year, all year long was out on it. And after like a couple of weeks, I'm in.
Tell me a little bit more why you were out.
Last season, it just didn't seem like it made sense. It was kind of, just like putting some superheroes together and then we'll see what happens. It didn't feel like organic. It felt a little bit more forced. And now, and I don't know if it just took a year, they have a coach that they seem to buy in on. Like, right, they kind of walked in with Frank Vogel, but now they're like, no, Bud is our guy. And they seem to be rallying around it. Also, Tyus Jones, I think just putting another ball handling guy into the system that they already have just allows everybody to know their role a little bit better. And then, I mean, this rookie, Ryan Dunn, he's been like locking up LeBron week one, your NBA career. That's pretty cool. That's a bucket list item you check off right away, right? Sure, LeBron's 40 now, but that's still cool.
Hey, I mean, that's what I was going to hit on, the point guard. That's the change, right? You know, you can throw superstar guys out there, the Bradley Bills, the Kevin Durant's, the Devin Bookers, and sure, you're going to win some ball games, but when those playoff games and the things that you really need structure, non-traditional Bradley Beal can't really play point guard like that. He can attempt to. Devin Booker the same way, but you take away their strengths of what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So in that particular situation, I feel like them adding, not only just Tyus Jones, but then you just got like, support on the bench, and then Ryan Dunn, as you mentioned, the potential's there.
Yeah, and like Booker can still run point occasionally. Beal can still take over occasionally, right? But to know that that's not what's required. It can just be a change of pace if they want to do it. My only concern, the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is Kevin Durant is playing a lot of minutes right now. That's a lot of minutes on a guy who can do it. He can absolutely do it, but I'm a little bit, I don't want him playing 40 minutes in October. Maybe in March.
Mike Z, don't worry.
Okay, all right.
He's good.
Okay, all right, good.
My teams, Los Angeles Clippers, no Kawhi Leonard. Everybody's kind of like, oh, laughing stock. What's going on? I'm seeing Kawhi's a fraud. The most like basically all the possible things you can say bad about a superstar when this guy has won titles in San Antonio, Toronto, and then also chose Los Angeles Clippers to be able to change and do something special for the Clippers franchise, right?
Yeah.
But then you got the system, aka James Harden, right?
Yeah.
And they've been rolling. We got a guy that you're going to talk about a little bit later, Zubac, having crazy numbers in his first week. And then you got guys like Norman Powell, who's also stepped up. The Clippers play really hard. They're well coached by Ty Lue. And from there, I don't know how long that's going to work out, but I like it.
I'm in on it too. And then the Clippers are another team that I was not excited. I wouldn't put them on like my top 5 league pass teams. And then, I checked out the game against the Denver Nuggets where they go into Denver after Denver had lost the game too. So you expect Denver to come out there, not like we're not going to get punched in the mouth again. We're going to take care of business. And then, I mean, Zubac, I'm all in. He is a monster. And it feels like, because Ty Lue's had him for a couple of years now, and I feel like he would always play like 25 to 27 minutes. They wouldn't really like unleash him. I know they had Plumlee back there for a little while, so maybe that was part of it. But man, he's been unleashed there. And Norman Powell just taking over games, an absolute shooter. Yeah, they're fun. I can't believe I'm saying that because I would not. I thought they were going to be a train wreck. I mean, it started off so like every story we got was like, oh, Kawhi's going to miss the first game. Kawhi's going to miss the first couple of weeks. Kawhi's trainer suing the Clippers. I'm like, it was a lot of stuff.
A lot of headlines.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the real wins, right? Yeah. Like they took that first game, we're like, oh, what's wrong with Phoenix? Clippers took them to overtime. A week later, you're like, oh, wait, maybe that was just a legit win by Phoenix because the Clippers are playing hard.
Yeah. You mentioned Norman Powell. Shouts to my guy, AJ Diggs, his trainer. They put the work in. I see it behind the scenes and stuff like that. So really excited about them.
Yeah.
You had the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tell me a little bit more.
Man, the Cavs, like, I think we walked into this season and we're like, the Knicks rebuilt, so they're going to be the second best team in the East. Or Joel Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, second best team in the East. Milwaukee Bucks, second best team in the East, right? That's kind of where the conversation was. Cleveland has come out here and they just look dominant right now. They look like Evan Mobley's doing a little bit more offensively. He's not taking like 6 threes a game, but he's taking a couple and he's making them. And Darius Garland, another guy I want to talk about a little bit later, like he's back. He's back. What they did at MSG last week, I think it just seemed like a statement for them. I don't know if this is going to translate to the playoffs, but right now they look like the second best team in the East.
Well, we said we weren't going to do any hot takes. I feel like that's a hot take.
That might be a hot take.
It's the first week. They are undefeated. They're 4-0. They're looking really good.
Yeah.
Cylinders is clicking. They still, Max Struss is out.
Yeah, Struss up for a little bit. Yeah.
So, I mean, they got some things to work on and get it. But right now, it's moving.
Yeah, I think people forget too that they won a lot of games last year without being healthy. Like they were constantly missing people. And now if they're, this core 4 that they all brought back, they seem to be buying into Kenny Atkinson, who I'm excited that he's their coach. I was always a big fan of him when he was in Brooklyn. So I'm glad he's got another shot. But yeah, I'm in on Cleveland. Buying the hype.
Absolutely. I got to talk about my Orlando Magic. My Orlando Magic, man. Paolo, 50 the other night. You know what I mean? So tenacious on defense. You got the Wagner boys.
Yeah.
Suggs. I mean, you can go down. We got the vet and KCP.
Yeah.
And
they unleashed Anthony Black.
Yeah.
He comes in like crunch time, knocking down big time shots against Indiana. They're a fun team.
He's put the work in over the summer. It looks like he found his shot. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be effective.
And that's what was missing, right? Was like a couple of guys that could knock down outside shots. And now I think there was so much conversation like, can Franz Wagner find a shot and start knocking down threes again? Well, I tell you, if Suggs is going to shoot 40% and they got Anthony Black and now Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are all knocking down threes, I don't think it's as big of a deal if Franz isn't knocking down that many triples because they have more shooting now.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about the Washington Wizards.
Okay, so this might feel like a hot take too, but the Washington Wizards are one of my teams of the week because right out the gate, they said we are going to tank. They're not messing around. They were like, they have, for the first time in the last 5 years, the Wizards have a direction, and I love it. They were like, you know what? Hey, Jonas Valanciunas, I know you're probably the best big guy that we got, maybe the best player we got on our team. We're going to get you off the bench. Bub Carrington, you're going to get the start. Sarr's going to get the start. Jordan Poole, you do some Jordan Poole stuff. But it seems like they're like, let's get our young guys a bunch of run now. Let's see what we got with these guys. And then with this draft coming up, everybody's so hyped about it. So, let's, be in position instead of winning 35 games and then getting the 10th pick and then doing the same thing again for the next 5 years. So, kudos to the Wizards, man.
I'm really high on Bub Carrington.
Yeah, he's fun, man. Yeah. He's just so long. He's so long. And I think once his, offensive game starts coming, he's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jordan Poole's averaging 22 right now. Looking back, pretty much getting into his fluidity of scoring and stuff like that. I think he was trying to do too much and fit in.
Yeah.
And him and Kyle Kuzma are trying to do the pack.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think they're going to really make too much noise, but like you said, this is an important draft year. They potentially can kind of strike big.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everybody's tanking for flag.
Right.
But not tanking for flag. I feel like if you're bad, you're bad.
Right.
You end up in that situation because even tanking doesn't guarantee that you'll get the number one.
Right. And it just seems like everybody's on the same page from the front office to the coach and the players, everybody. And, I'm sure they're going to, as we get closer to the trade deadline, Valanciunas or maybe Kuz or Poole, I don't know, there'll be conversations around it, but I just like that they have a direction. So shout out the Wizards. I'm happy for you.
Shout out to the Wizards. All right, man. Next man up. Next man up is a category where we highlight the unsung heroes or the people that don't get the love, that make the all-star team, that get the ticker love on these highlight shows or get that shout out. Who is your next man up?
So we talked about it already. We bought a Zubac, and I want to get that nickname getting out there. I want that trademarked. We bought a Zubac. All right. Okay. We'll get a little Matt Damon. Well, somebody photoshopped the movie poster. Let's get Zubac's face on there. 22-14 in the first couple of games. Yeah. And I mean, taking it to big, he took it to Nurkic. He took it to Jokic. anybody with the last name that ends in itch, he is taking it to right now. Yeah. And he's fun, man. He's a really and the 2-man game with him and Harden just like makes sense, you know. And I know there was some conversation around it last year when every podcast was kind of like, hey, James Harden spending some extra time with Zubac after practice, and we laughed at it at the time, but clearly they have a good sense for one another, and I think it's gonna keep going. He's gonna keep cooking.
Hey man, for me, Norm Powell. I mentioned earlier, him and AJ Diggs have been putting the work in over the summer, and it's showing. Right now he's at 24.7 points per game.
Yeah.
Really shooting the blood out the ball, getting to the rack, getting to the line, doing what he needs to do. Like I said, the Clippers are going to win some ball games. I don't know if they're going to find themselves in a clinch playoff spot, but they're going to be in the mix to play in the postseason.
What do you think like their ceiling is if Kawhi comes back, which I know is like a big if, but if he comes back, he's healthy, like where are you like, you have to rank them, but like where do you kind of see them falling in the West?
Oddly, they can be between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be a scrappy ball club. You know what I mean? They're going to play defense. They're going to be physical. They're going to wear you down. And that's the Ty Lue ball club, you know what I mean, for that much. But then they're also firing all cylinders. You know what I mean? These guys, got 3 guys in 20 points right now, and it's averaging 20 points. So
crazy.
That's really good. I don't know how that's going to keep up with Zubac, but I'm really into it. And it should be really exciting.
Yeah.
Especially they got that nice arena.
I know. I mean, Steve Ballmer can't lose. Can't lose. And I know everybody's really hyped about the arena. It does look nice. Yeah. The wall is a cool thing.
So now we're going to take the planes down south to Atlanta. You got Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Jalen Johnson's been so fun. So I think he's like almost 16-10 right now. But the Atlanta team's a little bit different this year. I think when we think of the Atlanta Hawks, we think of them, if they're winning a game, it's like 135, 132. Like not a lot of defense. They're actually defending. And I was watching that game against OKC Thunder this week. And Oklahoma, if you just look at the box score, you're like, okay, OKC won by 20. But they outscored them by 21 in the fourth quarter. Like it was a close game heading up until up until the fourth quarter. And Jalen Johnson just like brings a different dynamic to him. He's like super athletic, super springy, smart guy out there and does a little bit of everything. And I think it just makes Trey's life a little bit easier too, because it's another like real threat for them on the court. So I guess, I don't know. I didn't think Atlanta was going to be hanging around, but they look pretty good for the first week. They look good.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson is one of my favorites to win Most Improved Player.
I like that call.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's at 15-7.
Yeah.
15-9.
Yeah.
So he's close to almost a double-double.
Yeah, I was saying at the beginning of the season, I was like, I wonder if is he in like the Tyrese Maxey category of like what we saw Maxey do last year, where he was like kind of not budding star, but like made the All-Star team. And I feel like we could see something like that from Jalen Johnson in the East.
It might be a little tough, you know what I mean? But I like his trajectory of him going up, and actually, he's fun. If you haven't watched Jalen Johnson, go watch him.
Yeah.
I know they don't get a lot of TV games. Trae Young's playing like a madman as well.
He is.
And he deserves the respect he gets as a all-star and, what he does at his size and his impact. But Jalen Johnson, go watch his games. You're going to see a crazy dunk or two.
Yeah. He gets up.
He gets up. Yeah. He reminds me kind of Josh Smith a little bit.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good comp. Yeah.
Probably a better shooter.
Yeah, probably. No, but I don't think Josh Smith would agree with that, though.
Yeah. So for me, Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
Cam Thomas right now averaging 29.5 points per game in the first week of the NBA. I don't know how that's going to keep it up, but at the end of the day, in the past 3 years, we've been seeing Cam Thomas score. And that's what he does. I'm shocked that they haven't made him a household name for the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not sure what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It seems like they're tanking for flag as well.
I would think so.
But they're putting out their best product. But then you got guys like Dennis Schroeder, who's averaging 22 as well.
Yeah.
So they might try to compete. But anything's possible.
I mean, Cam has a green light.
Yeah.
He has a green light. He's getting shots up. But nobody, like when he gets hot, he's super fun to watch because you can see it in his eyes that he knows it's time to rip. And he is going to get those shots up. But you're right, that team's so weird. The Brooklyn Nets team is so weird. They've got like a bunch of guys that make sense on like a playoff rotation as like a seventh guy, maybe.
Yep.
But they're 1 through 7 for the most part. So it's a weird team. But even last night, they lost in overtime to Denver, but they like took it to Denver too. So they're a scrappy team.
I mean, you gotta look at this. This is the reason why these guys are in the NBA.
Yeah.
They play for these bad teams. You can have a collective of guys that just have no nucleus, no chemistry. They're one player away.
Yeah.
but they're a gold mine to another team that can help them get over the hump. You know, when they make those trades and you get that guy and you're like, I love this guy now. You know what I mean? Like, or I didn't understand because I didn't get a chance to see as many games.
Yeah.
This, that, and the third. But yeah, like you said, Brooklyn has a ton of those guys that could add value to other teams.
Yeah, and I'm sure as we get closer to the deadline, we'll hear. I mean, Ben Simmons' name was already getting thrown around. I think, was it Jake Fisher was reporting with the Warriors were interested potentially. But they're like Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton, like all of those guys are going to get mentioned as they get closer.
So you mentioned Darius Garland being back. What does that mean? Back from what?
I just think like when he came back last year from the injury, it seemed like he wasn't confident, whether it was like in his ability, in his body. I don't know. Like, and I think we forget, I mean, his jaw was like wired shut, right? Like that was like a scary, not fun injury. And I think that messes with you a little bit. And now you're going, I mean, just his own day-to-day stuff was adjusted, let alone coming back and playing a professional sport, you know? And so I think everybody was like, oh, him and Donovan don't make sense. His team's not working or whatever. That game against the Knicks the other night in MSG, it was him who was taking over down the stretch. It was Garland. And if that's where the Cavs ceiling is. Like everyone's going to be like, well, Mobley has to hit threes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But also Garland's like an all-star caliber guy. And if your backcourt is Mitchell and Garland, sure, there's going to be some defensive stuff that they got to figure out. But if he's playing like he did against the Knicks, I mean, that's the ceiling in the Cavs right there. So, and it's just a fun game. Like he's got a fun game. Good to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just consistency. I think staying healthy, consistency. We know what he's capable of doing. At one point, he was a top 5 guard in the league. So I think if he stays healthy, he can continue to get back there. And then with the tutelage of Kenny Atkinson and how he's running that team, like I said, they haven't taken a loss yet in the first week.
Right.
So anything is possible with the Cavs team if they, you know, make that jump.
Yeah. I mean, Kenny Atkinson, right? That was the D'Lo and Dinwiddie team, right? With the Brooklyn Nets, took them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Garland and Mitchell. Come on.
Atkinson can coach.
Yeah.
He can coach.
Yeah.
For me, Deuce McBride.
Yes.
Got a chance to watch them at the home opener play, and he got it off like, you know, and he's averaging 14.7 points per game right now.
Yeah.
I still think that he should start at the 2 and bring Josh Hart off the bench.
Oh, interesting. I like that take.
But again, someone said the other day, hey, Trey, how is, you know, where's the scoring going to come from off the bench? And I'm just kind of like, you're right, but at the end of the day, Deuce can add the shooting that they gave up with Dante and things of that nature, and the confidence and the aggressiveness that they needed so bad. I mean, obviously, Tibbs has added 2 starters to the lineup, you know, with Cat and Mikal Bridges, and they're still trying to figure things out on how that goes. But truly, Deuce McBride is going to be so important to the Knicks this season.
I think so too. Deuce has a little Cam Thomas in him, where like when he comes in, the shots are getting up, and like he's like a little microwave. Like once he gets going, because even in that game against the Celtics, where the Celtics were pulling away, every time he came in, I feel like he immediately like bang, 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 knocked down a couple of shots. So he's like a good breath of fresh air. I like that idea of him potentially starting and then just giving a little bit more size to the bench, because with it, well, like rebounding size to the bench with Josh Hart. Yeah, that's the Knicks. I think the Knicks just need a little bit more time. Yeah. Just a little time.
I mean, all teams that make any adjustments, you know what I mean? The only team that's kind of like getting it rolling is the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
Right?
They look good.
They look good.
They look real good. Even like Milwaukee was like hanging around for a couple of quarters, and then the Celtics were like, hey, we're going to have our 7th guy come out and torch you, and Peyton Pritchard.
Oh,
I mean, it's just
Peyton Pritchard's confidence is
it's
through the roof.
Out of control what Peyton Pritchard is doing right now. Even, I don't know if you saw the clip going around. There was some video. I think his fiance took,
kid.
Yeah, playing with the
kid. As a wife, yeah.
Yeah, and just taking him down low. I like that he's already working on his post game with children in the park.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, look. They're rolling. I've seen a hot take about them potentially winning 70 games.
Was that Waz? Was that Big Waz right there?
It might have been Waz.
Yeah, I think
it might have been Waz. I mean, look, I'm not pushing away. I like the idea, the good taste of between 60 and 65. I think they're going to be first to clinch in the East. They're going to get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
And guys are continuing to make another leap. I think everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And then when they add Porzingis.
I know, that's the other thing, right? They don't even have Porzingis yet. Can you think too, like, and I don't know how true any of this is, but like the last time a team has won a championship and then like come into the season feeling disrespected? I can't think of another.
I mean, there's been teams that have been disrespected that they felt like, they should. Milwaukee Bucks.
I guess that's a good one. Yeah,
obviously that was a little chaotic season.
Sure.
Durant stepping on the line.
Sure, yeah,
You
that's a
know,
good
the
one.
injury, and they could have beat them, and that was an easier ride. And,
Right.
you know, so I mean, it's all earned.
Yeah.
Champions are champions, and you're
Absolutely.
champions until you lose. So they have a chance to, you know, get back there
Yeah.
and handle business.
And they have a coach saying some wild stuff.
Bring back fighting.
I mean,
I mean,
I think he said something the other day that the hockey's the only sport with a power play. There needs to be a power play. Or no, he was like, every sport but basketball has a power play.
Okay.
And I was like, but I don't think that's true. I think hockey's the only one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I am a Celtics.
This is a jiu-jitsu guy, though.
Yeah.
So, of course, he's endorsing fighting.
Sure, that's true.
Like,
that's true.
That's the thing that we have to, like, kind of point out, that this is a guy that is grappling.
Yeah.
And, you know, he has a belt. He has a belt. So, of course, he wants to see guys get punched in the face.
That's so crazy. I would love just, you know, they do the starting five. I've enjoyed watching that. Let's get Missoula in there.
No,
all right.
man.
Just follow that man around.
I don't know. I don't know if I can
It'd be too much Missoula.
watch 10 episodes of Missoula.
Just him watching the town?
Yeah, no, I can't do it. Hot hand. So the hot hand is about the hottest team in the league. This is not specifically the best team. This is the team that has a win streak going or potentially building on a win streak. I started off with the Miami Heat. I feel like they're getting things going. You know, Jimmy Butler's finding out things. Jaime Jaquez and, you know, Terry Rozier. And, you know, like, they have them spurts. The Heat is one of those teams that you can't disrespect or forget about. And they, you know, Heat culture a real thing, and they're always in the mix, regardless of injuries. They have the quote unquote next man up
right
all the time. I think throughout this season, we're going to be talking about Miami Heat players.
Absolutely. And I think we talked about this before. The idea of just like, if you made up a name, they probably earn minutes for the Miami Heat. Like, they can just churn out basketball players that I've never heard of that all of a sudden are impacting winning. Miami just never goes away, man. They never go away. And Jimmy Butler, contract year, like, you know, what are we going to see from him as we get closer? And Bam coming off an impressive Olympic run.
Now, I got some questions about Bam.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's right now not playing the best basketball. I'm not sure if he's ailing an injury, what's going on. He's not there mentally.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 10 points a game, very low. I'm not sure what the ask is of him. You know what I mean? Spo may have came to him and say, hey, we need something different.
Yeah.
But, you know, for fans that have been following him throughout his career so far, we know he's capable of having a motor of double-doubles and being effective on the offensive.
Yeah, it almost reminds me, and this comp, I don't really mean this comp. It's like a lighter version of it. Yeah. But we saw some of this with Anthony Davis, too, for a long time, where like every once in a while, you get this like massive offensive ceiling game. Not every once in a while. He would perform offensively, but you'd get these like phantom games where like he wasn't aggressive, wasn't really going up, and you're kind of like, wait, why aren't you doing that? And I feel like we get that with Bam a little bit too, where every once in a while, we see it, especially when Jimmy missed a bunch of time last year, putting up constant like 20 and 12, 25 and 12, whatever. And then you're right, to start the season, 10 points, that's not going to cut it.
No, it's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
It's like 10.9.
Yeah.
So, Bam, we need you.
Yeah.
We need you. You have the Los Angeles Clippers as your hot team.
Yeah, I'm going to just take, I think, because we've talked about the Clippers so much already, we're just going to take all of Los Angeles, and we'll talk some Lakers too. But they are, I mean, both of those teams, I thought were going to be barely hanging on for play-in energy. You know, like I didn't think they were going to be winning games off the bat. Not that I just, because the West was so deep and there's so many different teams that are like I would rank ahead of them. And then for the first couple of weeks, man, I mean, for the first week, the Lakers look awesome. And the only game that they lost was against the Phoenix Suns, who we've already talked about that I like. And they were in that game the whole way too. Like Austin Reeves missed a 3 and like last possession, like a great play that was drawn up.
Yeah.
And they just, like, the vibes feel good, you know? Normally we get this like Los Angeles angst with both of these teams, and we don't have any of that right now. They look really, really good. Anthony Davis is leading the league in scoring as we're recording that.
Yeah.
As we're recording.
I mean, you said play-in energy. Obviously, play-in energy comes out of, Kawhi being hurt. So I understand that for the Clippers.
Sure.
The Lakers, they've been in the play-in, so that's why we consider them a play-in team every year. But they started off hot.
Yeah.
You know, it was 3-0 before they took the loss the other night, so they're 3-1.
And like real wins too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not. It's not like.
But
a
it
cupcake
also
schedule.
looks like JJ Redick has convinced LeBron that he is number 2, and Anthony Davis is number 1 for now.
Yeah.
For now, and Anthony Davis has a chance to be leading the league in points per game. I feel.
Yeah.
Set up for success, and then LeBron James doesn't have to take on so much of the load of leading this team down. He can just kind of play off of the energy of the young guys. Austin Reeves looks great. You know what I mean? I'm still kind of on the fence of finishing the game with Gabe Vincent over D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
It seemed to be working. It seemed, the other night it didn't. When they played against Phoenix. But
yeah, I feel like with D'Lo too, you kind of know early like what you're getting with him, and if he's hot, like let him keep cooking. LeBron being convinced that he's the second guy. I mean, JJ should win Coach of the Year right now if he was able to do that with LeBron in the conversation of one of the best of all time, and you're able to be like, hey, LeBron, you're actually number 2 now, which is good for LeBron too. LeBron shouldn't as someone who is almost the exact same age as LeBron, like you can't. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, when you're really looking at this thing, I don't think that LeBron has accepted that he's the number 2 on his team yet.
Yeah.
I don't think it is just because of who he is. I think he's going to make the right decision to get wins for the basketball team. But the idea of telling him you're number 2, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he had a rough game against Phoenix. He went 3 for 14. He had 7 points most of the game until he finished the game with 11. But it just wasn't his best game. They did the post-game interview. He said that he wasn't feeling well coming off of triple-double. I'm not here to say that, he's not feeling well or not, but I prefer your LeBron James.
Yeah.
At this point, it's okay to have a bad game.
Yeah, man, you're almost 40. Like the fact that you're out there every single time is impressive. And I mean, I think, like to your point, I do think there will be nights where he is the number 1 option on the team too. I think it's just not. That should be like their change of pace. You don't need to do that every night. But you're right. He probably.
We've seen him will his team to victory the other night with the triple-double. So he's going to have those nights where he's just feeling it, and you need to get out of the way, give him the ball, and let him succeed. But it's not needed every time. We have grace. We understand that you're approaching 40. You're playing in year 22.
Wild.
Which is wild to think of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is one of the dudes that is probably the greatest of all longevity.
Yeah.
Right? And then the durability and things of that nature and reliability. Like he's most likely going to be another all-star, whether he's voted in or performance-wise. I still think that he's going to perform at a high level to be top 10 in this league.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it a couple of months ago where he just took over in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely there. I mean, I don't think I've done anything consistently for 22 years.
Hey, no, it's a tough task. I mean, he's a strong mental guy. Obviously, he's on the road to 5. He gets a chance to play with his son.
Yeah.
While we're recording now, they're going to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bronny rejoins the team to potentially get some minutes tonight.
That's nice.
A little I'm a little bit out on it.
Yeah.
Just because if he is truly going to be in the G League, I feel like there needs to be some consistency for him to get true playing time and true development, but also true development for and chemistry and consistency from the Lakers bench. If there's going to be a rotation, guys, like if JJ's going to go 8 to 9 deep, he needs to stick to that rotation and allow guys to get into a flow versus trying to capture a moment.
Yeah, it is a disservice to the rest of the team. I also the first time they did it, I'll give it to you. Like that was a nice moment the first time they did it. It was I get that it was performative. It was a moment that happened. To do it a second time, it's like, well, who is this performance for right now? I mean, I get that it all started
I'm getting
there.
a hard time right now. Everybody's like, why am I complaining over 3 minutes? But again, he doesn't improve off of this. This is just a moment. So are we going to do this at every place that LeBron played?
Right.
Do you
do to Miami?
You do game 1, you go Cleveland, you go Miami.
And then you got to do maybe, what if it's the last game of the regular season? It might be LeBron's last game. You know,
I don't think he's done this yet.
I don't think so either. But I'm just saying, like, that's
Yeah.
another. Like, we're gonna find all of these opportunities to be like, oh, we're gonna get Bronny in there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I
I also
mean,
can't imagine Bronny likes that. Do you like?
I don't think he's technically worried about it. I think he's
Yeah.
still happy that he's a pro. I
Yeah,
think
of
he's
course.
just along for the ride and want to prove that he belongs. And
Sure.
he'll get that opportunity to do it as of time goes. But right now, he still needs to understand the business of basketball,
Right.
understand what it takes to be a pro, what it takes to add value to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a cool moment that LeBron gets to go to work with his son. And also his son gets a chance to potentially earn minutes the right way.
Right. I'm with you on that.
We have the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Dallas Mavericks, they're in the middle. I don't think they're technically hot. They're 2-2. Klay Thompson started off. I'm so glad Klay Thompson had a good game.
Yeah.
To start it off.
I mean, right? They're just like a big sigh of relief, especially because like the preseason where he had a little rough go at it.
Yeah.
And then he comes out like first quarter, knocks down a couple, and he's like, all right, we're good. Everybody, we're fine.
Yeah. And I think he's going to win some ball games for them. Might be just because he can shoot.
Yeah.
They're not asking him to do a lot. They're not asking him to guard the best player. They just need to improve their 3-point shooting. And I think Klay can do that. You know what I mean? I think he just needs to be out his head, continue to do him, and he's going to play exceptionally well. And then also, you got Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's drawing so much attention to himself, like when he's getting it going, that he can set these guys up. And, you know, let's not talk about Luka. So vice versa, like I think that they're going to be good. Just a rough start. You know what I mean? So
they've got just so many different levers they can pull too. Like
Yeah.
I think it was last night against Minnesota. Like Ant-Man comes out and he takes over the first quarter. And it's like we hadn't seen a big Kyrie game yet.
Yeah.
Not that we had bad Kyrie games, but we just hadn't seen a Kyrie game yet. And then he just takes over, and it's like, oh yeah, you got Kyrie, who is one of the best to ever do it. He gets to take over for a little bit, or it's Luka, or you get a throwback Klay game. Like they
Yeah.
just have so many different ways to come at you.
one of the most fundamental. It's not sung enough, but
Yeah,
Kyrie gets it done.
yeah.
Knows how to play basketball. And between those lines, that's all that matters.
Mhm.
Would
And it
love-
seems like they like their situation that they got too.
Yeah.
Like they seem like there's no rumblings coming out of Dallas. You know,
no.
They seem good.
No, I mean, good ownership. You know what I mean? Well coached. And, you know, from there, I think that they get it. And they feel, you know, that they want their lick back from the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have to bring it because the Celtics are really good.
Yeah. Man,
Really,
they're
really
gonna
good.
get through the West again too. I mean, like OKC. I know they went through OKC last time, but goodness, OKC looks good right now.
I ran into Millsy yesterday, and he says he wants to come on and talk about the Celtics. So
Okay.
I'm holding him.
Well,
You know, I'm holding him to that.
I don't tell a lot of people this because I'm in New York, but I'm from Boston originally.
Oh,
So I am a Celtics fan. We can do
Okay.
that. We can do that all day.
Oh man, see, I'm gonna have to bring him the reinforcements to positive Boston talk. But Philadelphia 70s. Nope. Sorry,
What you-
jumped the gun. Golden State Warriors.
Man, Golden State, like, again, I wasn't really buying into, there was so much conversation this offseason being like, they got so much better with all the moves they made. And listen, Buddy Hield has shut me up because he wasn't really cracking the rotation for the Sixers in the playoffs, and then Golden State adds him. And I was like, okay, yeah, like that's nice, I guess. And he has come out there both with Steph and now with the Steph injury last night against the Pelicans, gets off to a slow start. And then I think he knocks down six threes in the second half, I believe, and just like takes over the game. And Golden State gets another W. They still haven't really figured out what they're doing with Kuminga. And now there was some rumblings again today that he might not be long for Golden State. I mean, clearly they didn't extend him, but they just, they are hanging around and winning games early. Now, they beat like the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers to start the season. So like maybe we see them get some more games under their belt. But as long as they can stay healthy, like D'Anthony Melton now he's missing a couple of games. Steph missing a couple of games, but they're hanging around more than I thought they were going to, because I thought it was going to be a tough start to the season for them.
I mean, how I look at it, right? The Warriors are still the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have the two players that matter,
Right.
right? You have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green. Not saying that nobody else matters.
Yeah, but
But you add
Killers.
vets. You add the Kyle Andersons who knows how to play basketball. That's a ball handler. That's a guy that can defend. That's a guy that sparingly can score. Then you add shooting with Buddy Hield, right?
mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm sorry Kuminga didn't work out, but like Pods,
Pods is nice.
I mean, you can check it out. I don't know about rank 75 nice.
No.
I saw that.
Wait, rank 75?
In the top 100 players, she's ranked 75.
Oh, I did not see. Okay, yeah, that might be a little aggro.
That one was interesting.
It's funny.
I like Pots though.
Yeah, it's funny. It goes back and forth where like I like him too, and then they were like, well, we can't let him go for Lauri Markkanen, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna let him go for Lauri Markkanen. Like Lauri,
he got to go.
Yeah,
I would help pack his bags.
Yeah, I get it, but then he performs well. I'm like, okay, and then you tell me he's top 75. I'm like, all right, well, I don't.
Everybody's high on him, man.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I think the Clippers didn't want to let go Terrence Mann.
Oh my God. Yeah, Terrence Mann, Talen Horton-Tucker with the Lakers. That's another one too. But yeah, I don't know.
There's tons of untouchable guys. But I mean, look, I get it. I understand. Draymond has won three challenge calls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They have not missed a challenge call. So he knows ball.
Wow.
High IQ. Shout out to Draymond.
Wait, is so Draymond's giving them and then they do it? All right, wow.
And they do it every time and they've won.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
shout out to Draymond.
So, refs, I want to see how long this streak goes.
Yeah.
But as long as Draymond's reviewing, you might lose.
I think that should be a good goal for him this season, to have more correct challenge calls than technical fouls.
Good luck with that one. I don't know about that because I think the techs come with it.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
No, right, but it's like part of the game a little bit.
Because sometimes when you get techs, it's in a scenario of like firing up your team.
Right.
Depending on the moment.
Right.
Most people look at it as a negative because he gets tossed.
Yeah.
Or to a point of like, man, we could have did this, that, and the third, and you messed up the run. And it's not that. I mean, I think he's very effective, and Steph is a better player when he's on the floor.
Yeah. Well, it's true too. Like, I hadn't really thought about that. Where like coaches kind of get credit for doing that. Coaches will get credit for they had to fire up the team a little bit, so I yelled at the ref. But if a player does it, we're kind of like, what are you doing, man? Don't be giving away points like that.
Very rare, man. Sometimes it's 2 free throws. It just depends on the momentum swing. We had Chicago Bulls, my former favorite team. Right, I grew up a Bulls fan.
Okay,
and I left them this year for the Orlando Magic. Thanks to NBA Twitter. Or NBA X, whatever we call it nowadays.
Yeah.
But Chicago, Kobe White,
he's so nice.
Zach LaVine, guys they're playing ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing ball on the up and up. I don't think they're gonna make like a loud noise, but this first week, I like what I'm seeing. They're competing.
Kobe White's fun, man. That was like a real cool development the second half of the season for the Bulls, where they started to get a little feisty, and it was because Kobe White was just became a different guy. Oh, not a different guy, but he was like coming into his own. Was gotten a shot to like actually evolve as a player, and he's been awesome. That's a fun one. I haven't watched a ton of the Bulls yet. I'll be honest. I did watch. It was good to see Lonzo back. Like that was fun. Although I think he just dinged up
his wrist, so he's out.
Man, he's just so because it's so fun having him out.
Yeah,
like it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get told that you won't be able to play again. Right. You have a surgery, and it takes such of a grind to get back. He gets back, he plays in a couple games, and then he gets hurt and hurts his wrist, and it's unfortunate. Bubble wrap that man, because I still want to see him compete.
He doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, for how like mentally tough you have to be to like come back from that time and time again. Because every setback, like as hard as it was to get there, like the last time, every setback, it feels probably 10x to get back the next time, just because it's just so much mental lift there.
Yeah. All right. So this segment, we call it 30-second timeout, where we help teams adjust. And the first team that needs adjustment is the Denver Nuggets.
Man, it took overtime in Toronto and overtime in Brooklyn to get your 2 W's this year. You can't do that. I mean, congrats on the W, but Toronto may be the first team in history to have a player come out at the beginning of the season being like, hey, come on, we're not trying to win these games. We're not trying to win all these games. It was a Jakob Poeltl, I think, that said that at the beginning of the season. So they just don't look right, man. I mean, Jokic in that game, I think it was against the Clippers, where he kind of brings the team all the way back. He goes like 7 for 13 from 3. Jokic has turned into their floor stretcher. That's crazy. Like, he can knock down a couple of triples, but that's not the best use of Jokic. And I promise you that's not what he wants to be doing either. I don't think that's the game that he likes, that he's just chucking threes. So we need just anybody on that bench to like wake up. So Russ, Julian Strother, Peyton Watson, somebody. The bench need, because they don't have a lot of flexibility to make some moves.
Yeah.
But this is like Jokic in his prime. We can't have you floundering around.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr., let's go, baby. Let's knock down some threes.
I still think it's early.
Yeah.
Too early. Too early. Too early to be shaking the tree.
Okay.
Getting upset.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook is really struggling. But
yeah.
whenever Russell Westbrook gets on a new team, he struggles.
Yeah.
And then he figures it out. So I am very positive that Russell will figure it out.
I hope so.
He just needs to figure out what he can add to this team.
Mm-hmm.
Shot selection still shaky, playing at a different pace than the team that they're supposed to have.
And maybe like to Russ's credit, if other bench players at the time were knocking down shots, maybe he'd be taking less of those, but he's probably looking around, not seeing a lot of shots go down. He's like, I got to do something.
Well, that's the same thing. You call out, hey, we need shots.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the vet stepping up.
Yeah.
But I think guys are going to get it rolling. I mean, I don't think they're going to continue to drop games like that.
Yeah.
They just need to see this one win. Whoever they're going to beat up on. It got to be a bad team, but they're going to get the win.
Because that's what, like, the OKC loss at the beginning of the season, that one, like, OKC's
good.
Yeah. And then the Clippers, like, okay, I mean, I thought you were going to win that game, Denver, because you're at home, but Clippers have been tough. And then, they got the win in Toronto and in Brooklyn, but it was just, barely. Barely. But a win's a win. Win's a win.
Win's a win. All right. Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton. What's your thoughts so far?
I mean, I want, where is he? We saw, I don't know. Do you think he's still battling an injury a little bit? Like, no. Because what we saw at the first half of last season, up until like the in-season tournament, now the Emirates Cup, he was balling. He was balling. He was electric. Like everybody around him was thriving. And now that clearly has taken a step back a little bit. And they're not winning games right now. And honestly, they're relying a little bit more on like Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench and bringing some life to him. So I don't know. I don't like it. It just doesn't look, even that game against Orlando where Paolo went bonkers. Like I think he had a near triple-double or got the triple-double, but it still didn't feel as impactful as what we were seeing last season. I don't know. What about you? How are you feeling about Indiana?
Well, a little bit on Halliburton. Halliburton said that he promises to fix his shot.
Okay.
But as a fan, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I probably would have, sounds crazy, but I probably would have withdrew from the Olympics and got better. Not saying, he's an all-star and they got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Sure, yeah.
But if you're saying quotes like that out loud, you can't fix your shot mid-season. It's very hard. You're going to have some slumps and you're going to figure it out and things of that nature, but I also don't want to hit him with the sticks of sports because he has a lot going on off the court.
Right.
He's getting, his popularity is growing, so he's getting into different things.
I think you could do both. Like I think
definitely, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one-dimensional. I don't think that just because you had a bad game, players need to stop doing that. But I think the Pacers really need him to thrive.
Yeah.
They're investing into him. That's why they went and traded for Pascal Siakam. That's why Ben Mathurin is right there. If Ben Mathurin's healthy, then he can add, and so on. Miles Turner, the list goes on from their team and, potentially getting better. You know what I mean?
And you're watching the rest of the teams around the East in their range getting better too. Like you saw what Orlando did. Even like they're not going to be in the same spot. But even like Charlotte and Atlanta have been like feisty this season.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your foot on the gas or if you're not right, like you're gonna be dropping these games. You're gonna be dropping some.
I think the Pacers are gonna be all right. Early on, we just have high hopes because of where they ended, and most of the time we think the momentum is gonna be picked up off of the last place that they lost. And if they were in the top 4, in the conference and made a deep run, why not be still good?
Right. And like you said, it's so early. Like it's so early that there's plenty of time to turn things around. But.
Yeah. We have here the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Bucks? I feel like they're stumbling a little bit, and the defense makes me nervous. That's what makes me nervous. Is it seems like they're still getting lit up. And again, I'm not going to hold the Celtics against them because I think the Celtics are going to light up whoever they go at right now. But they dropped the game to the Brooklyn Nets. I think their only win so far is against the Sixers without Embiid and Paul George.
How I really feel about it, Doc Rivers has to take some credit for this. And then also, Dame and Giannis are not on the same page.
Yeah.
Dame, there's a quote saying Dame, they have to get on the same page as far as like being able to work together. And I just feel like either Dame has to accept that he's a number 2 and there's no 1B,
Yeah.
or Giannis has to, and I don't think Giannis is going to pass that. This is his team.
Yeah.
Dame came there, and I think they're going to flip a switch as well.
Yeah.
They're gonna win some ball games, but at the end of the day, it is going to be a dog fight or bloodbath in the East.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they desperately need.
And Chris Middleton's hurt. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
He's battling the injury bug.
Yeah,
so
they desperately need him to be healthy. Like, I don't think they can hang in the East without him. Like, I mean, they'll win some games. Obviously, I'm not saying they're gonna fall into the plane or anything like that. But they, like, in a playoff series, if you don't have Middleton right on that team, I mean, that's asking so much from guys like Gary Trent Jr., who, like, Gary Trent Jr. is a nice piece, but you don't want him to be like our third leading scorer behind Giannis and Dame. Like, that's probably not going to get it done.
I really want to see Chris Middleton stay healthy.
Me too.
And ball out. My rook, AJ Johnson, he's there. He scored his first bucket not too long ago, but I want to see him work his way into a rotation. And I really want to see Dame thrive in the East.
Me too.
Like, basketball is better when Dame's playing playoff basketball
100%.
and making big shots. He's a big time shot maker, and the product is just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and he can still do it. Like, we saw him, he's knocked 30 down at least once so far this season. So he can still do it. Yeah, they gotta lock in a little bit defensively, I think.
Yeah, they definitely need to lock in. The Minnesota Timberwolves. What's your thoughts?
I think Randall is getting a little bit more comfortable now. We've seen like a couple good Randall games in a row. I think everybody freaked out in that first game, and New York Knicks fans who were happy that Randall moved on, you could like collectively see them shaking their heads, seeing this is what I'm talking about, where he kind of checks out a little bit. But I think it was a big ask to be like, hey, we're going to trade you to a new team. You're going to go move, take your family somewhere else, and play basketball in a week with a bunch of guys you don't play basketball with. So the fact that it was a slow start, I don't think is a problem. He seems to be like finding his rhythm a little bit. My only concern for them right now, though, is they were like a defensive juggernaut, right? That's what the Wolves brought to the table, and they're not really defending that well.
No,
this season.
It's more bombing.
Yeah,
I mean, Anthony Edwards, I shot 13 threes the other night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I think you picked that up from Team USA.
Yeah.
But he needs to get to the line. He needs to get to the line. I mean, I could see him leading the league in scoring, but like, at what cost?
Right.
And then he's also trying to be a playmaker. Like, he went away from what he did last season and went to camp in Team USA and was like, okay, I'm going to take a little Steph. I'm going to take a little KD. I'm going to take a little Bron. I'm going to take this and add it to my game. And that's not his strength. You know what I mean? Because it's just a mix of things. You know what I mean? He's taking a lot of shots, but then he's also passing like to guys that's not making shots too.
Yeah, we haven't seen like Dante fully get comfy yet there either. And I think that will come. Like, I think
I think all these teams, we have to be really patient. This is week 1.
Right.
Going into week 2. And these are things that we just have to just kind of like wait.
Yeah. I hope we get to see Dillingham soon too. I know he has, I don't think he's touched the floor yet, or if he did, maybe for like a minute at the end of the game. I hope he gets a shot.
He's exciting, man. Elusive. In preseason, I was getting really excited for them. I feel like they got a good player. I was worried about his size, but he knows how to score the ball.
Yeah. Oh, he can get to his spots for sure.
Yeah. The Philadelphia 76ers.
Man, I think the Philadelphia 76ers are on the court. I'm here for. I'm here to watch them play basketball. I think I'm out on every other conversation around them. I don't know why it's so hard to tell people Embiid's got an injury. Like, I don't know what's going on. This is the dumbest $100,000 fine I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, why? And then Nick Nurse is getting a little agitated with the media, like, because he can't explain it. And I was like, what? Nick Nurse, stop being main character. You know, this main character syndrome. It's hard for me to trust people who have merch of just their initials on their hat. I think that's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line.
Man. Yeah, man. I don't know. Philly, no back-to-backs. Why Embiid put that out there? Paul George dealing with injury. Obviously, Maxey does what he does. Plays really well. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's an interesting team right now. They had all the hype going in.
Right.
I mean, most of these teams had all the hype to build up for the Celtics. And the Celtics the only one that's kind of like backing up how they, what they supposed to do. They're the champs for a reason.
I will give the Sixers credit for getting Andre Drummond. Like, thank God they went out and got like a real backup big. Because he's not gonna win you 50 games or anything, but like the fact that they don't have Embiid right now, like they have a real backup big that can go out there and plug the gap for a little bit. No disrespect to Paul Reed. We love B-Ball Paul. But I think Drummond has been helpful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, they got to figure it out as well.
Yeah. I just want more on-court stuff with the Sixers. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear off-court stuff anymore.
I feel like that's all the news that we're getting fed.
Yeah.
That's all we're getting fed. I mean, I want to see a ticker of Kelly Oubre having a great game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out Kelly Oubre.
Lowry's and, the Jared McCain's.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean, of the world. So those are the things I'm rooting for, you know what I mean, as for that. Lastly, a 30-second timeout. New Orleans Pelicans. DeJounte Murray out with a hand injury.
Mm-hmm.
Bad loss last night. Bad loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Herb's out now too for a little bit, I think.
Injury bug.
Yeah. That was a tough. I don't know how you lose that game. I mean, I know that happens sometimes where everyone's like, oh, so-and-so's out. Mm-hmm. They'll definitely win this game or whatever. And then Golden State comes out, punches them in the mouth a little bit. But I mean, Zion, I know the point Zion thing is very exciting. They get 30 last night or 31. But like 7 turnovers is pretty tough if that's from your main ball handler.
Yeah.
I don't know what their fix is. The one bright spot, Yves Missy, the rookie. He's like, I didn't expect him to have an impact until
like 10 per game.
Yeah.
10 points right now.
He's giving them life off the bench, like a little bit of excitement. But yeah, man, it's weird. I don't know what the answer is. I'm
shocked he ain't starting at the 5 because that's a whole nother thing. I know they're trying something. They're just working with it, but it was not one of those things where I seen that happening. Because I was wondering, I'm like, yo, you lost Jonas. Like, all right, what is the next pickup?
Right.
You're not going to try to get JaVale McGee. You're not going to try to get,
I mean, no disrespect to Daniel Tice, but we've done the Daniel Tice thing, right? Like we know exactly what you're getting. And I think, if he's going to play, 14 minutes for you off the bench, sure. But we're starting with Tice for a team that's trying to like make some moves here in the West. I just again, that game last night, Brandon Ingram and Zion combined for 61 points, I think. Nobody else got into double digits on that team.
Daniel Tice starting is very 2016, 2018.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I that's all I can put it. You know what I mean? He's a very 2016, 2018 season in this moment. And the direction that they're trying to go, I don't get it. That's not it. You know what I mean? So,
and I hope Willie Green doesn't get hammered for this. Like, I think Willie Green
does definitely. The coaches always get,
I know,
get the fine of it. But I mean, at the end of the day, he served a bad deal of cards because no one expected Murray to get hurt.
I know.
And obviously Ingram was having his drama off season. Mm-hmm. Trying to get him in camp and things of that nature. So because he thought he was going to get traded to the Kings.
I mean, they basically said like the second the season was over, they went out there and they were like, we got to shake things up. And I mean, that was. They might as well said, we got to shake Brandon Ingram up. Like, they might as well have said that because we all knew that's what they were talking about. And then you can't do that and then not move the guy. Like, you can't,
I mean,
what are you doing?
I mean, I had a good win the other night.
Yeah.
Zion block. And then, he made a big shot in Portland. So,
that's right, over Simons, right?
Yeah, the voodoo has hit New Orleans.
Yeah.
Don't say that. So, New Orleans, we're rocking we hopefully we'll be talking about you and the team of the week.
Yeah.
Or the hot hand section.
Yeah, we got to move you up.
Yeah. So it's time for the players of the game. Tatum.
Man, this again, selfishly as a Celtics fan, he looks just so comfortable. Mm-hmm. And after all of the drama and everybody, he's got to get in his shot, which he did. I mean, it did look a little funky for a little bit. Then not playing in the Olympics and all. He didn't win Eastern Conference Finals MVP, didn't win Finals MVP, blah, blah, blah. And he comes out immediately, goes like 8 for 11 from 3 against the Knicks, and then like keeps it going. Like he didn't, obviously he's not going to shoot 8 for 11 every single game, but is still confidently stroking the 3 ball. He's still defending at a high level. And I mean, that team is just cooking. And there was a little bit of a part of me that was nervous heading into the season. Like, if this doesn't get off to a good start, is this dialogue, this cloud of just nonsense going to be hanging over the team?
Yeah.
And he just immediately, instead, podcasts are being like, should we be putting Jason Tatum in the MVP conversation? Like, that's what everything's leading with now. So it's just, I don't know, like a breath of fresh air, sigh of relief. Tatum is on the right side of the conversation. It's good to see.
I mean, I do have him in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
He has a chip on his shoulder, despite winning the title. You know, sat the bench, Team USA.
Yeah.
Has changed his shot. Him and Drew Hanlen put that work in. It's a little bit more arc on it. It's fluid. There's no hitch.
Right.
You know, it's just moving.
Right into it.
I'm a big fan of it. And I think as they continue to succeed, it's going to be with him.
Yeah.
Starts with him.
Absolutely.
So, regular season, I think Taco J is going to get it rolling.
Oh, let's go. I'm here for it.
Anthony Davis.
Whew. I mean, he's incredible right now. Leading the league in scoring. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but he's like clearly the most impactful player on that team.
Yeah.
And is leading the way. He's just awesome.
Yeah.
Everything on both sides of the ball. Like and shout out JJ, like you were saying, the offense is running through him. They're getting him in different action. They're getting him the ball earlier in different spots. He's doing everything. He's getting to the line. Like, he's getting to the line like 10, 12 times a game right now.
He understands his value. I feel the thing also is one of those things where AD looks like 2020 AD, where we were comparing him to Giannis, saying when we had to choose who was the better of the two, a lot of people were choosing Anthony Davis.
Right.
He's back playing at that high level to a point where he's potentially could lead the league in scoring.
Yeah.
And then also, knock on wood, we really want him to be healthy. He could take the Lakers to a guaranteed playoff spot.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I can't believe I'm even saying that, because I would not have said this like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
He's just so locked in right now. And you're right. Like, as long as he stays healthy, I mean, there's nobody in the West is outside of the Thunder really have, and Dallas looks good too, but no one has just shown me like, oh, they're so far better than everybody else, you know? And I feel like the Lakers are right there.
Yeah. I mean, the Lakers are right there. And I think that long as JJ doesn't blow a gasket and thinks that he can go 81-1.
Yeah.
You know, he has to be realistic, and there's going to be games where they drop him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're going to lose ball games. But as long as they compete and they show up for him, and, you know, he's instilling his young guys, you know, they got the fun clips going out, you know, the guards versus the forwards and the box outs and the defense and stuff like that. And they're having fun. It's a very college atmosphere.
It does, yeah.
But, you know, good vibes.
Good vibes. Also, we're getting like good Jackson Hayes minutes.
Yeah.
Jackson Hayes out there.
Yeah. Good Jackson Hayes minutes.
God.
But yeah, AD,
yeah.
You know, I got him potentially either being Defensive Player of the Year.
For sure. You got it.
AD right now is probably, he should have won one of those Defensive Player of the Years.
And you ask him, he'll tell you too. He'll let you know.
No, for sure. And that's why he takes pride in going at Rudy Gobert or whoever it is. And in those situations, like, you could ask players and they're going to say that AD is so good on defense, whether it's rotations, whether it's timing, whether it's getting there. You can't do a lot when he's defending, you know.
True.
And was it Kokolo?
Oh, yeah. Is it Koloko?
Koloko, sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
Koloko joining. Now I could potentially move to the 4. Dang, I butchered that. Koloko. You know, Davis actually moving to the 4. That's going to be, that's going to be a tough defensive team.
Yeah. I mean, he would like that too. He would much rather play the 4.
Of course, he does not like the C word.
Yeah.
He does not like to play center, man.
No.
So I don't know, but I'm really high on Anthony Davis this season.
Yeah. Again, I can't believe how highly we're talking about the Lakers. If you told me 2 weeks ago this is what we'd be doing, I was like, no way, man.
Well, no, we sound like every other.
I know.
Network, you know what I mean? But to be fair, 3-1.
Yeah.
3-1.
No, we have to be talking about them. I mean,
we're also talking about the non-other headlines.
That's
we're talking about Anthony Davis, JJ Redick,
The Washington Wizards.
Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
Westside Connect.
That's right.
AKA Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those guys contributing at a good pace and adding value to the Lakers in their success early on.
Absolutely.
Paolo Banchero.
Man, I feel like I should just turn this over to you. I know we get the Magic Minute coming, but Paolo, gosh, he's unreal in that game.
I mean, Paolo Banchero, man, he's, only thing I would like is a little bit more aggression.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were saying, that they enjoy him setting other people's up. You know what I mean? I mean, he had 37 in the first half. And that 37 in the first half, you think like, hey, is he going to go for 50? Which he did.
Yeah.
But it just took a little bit longer to get to because he just didn't force it. He didn't score his next basket until the last 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Right.
And I was a little kind of feeling away about that because I just want him to be a little bit more meaner.
Yeah.
For his stature. He's like 6'10". I know we compared him to Melo, but like he might be even like, I don't know. The comp is so different because I haven't seen nobody like that.
No, he's so big. He's so big, but still so. And I mean, so was Melo, but he was just so comfortable with the ball. And I just keep seeing that clip over and over.
He's shooting the 3-ball better.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like the shooting is so much better. I just keep seeing that clip over and over where he kind of gets it at the elbow and just like a quick step and then goes up with it and knocks down the jumper. I'm like, oh, you just can't defend that. You're just not going to be able to defend that. Also, the Pacers waited till the second half to throw a double at him, which I thought, listen, man, if he lit you up at 37 in the first half, you got to try something in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, piggybacking off of Paolo Banchero, it is time for Trey's Magic Minute.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So, Orlando Magic, 3-1. We need more viewership, more TV games so the whole world can see how good the Orlando Magic is. Like, Coach Mosley got them playing great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The ratings are down because the Orlando Magic's not on live TV.
You think so? You think
absolutely?
You think all those graphics would have been different?
Give
today?
us TNT, give us ESPN, give us the Amazon games, whatever you need. Paolo Banchero and the Wagner boys and the rest of the squad are must-see TV, getting Isaac back, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, MV Paolo.
MV Paolo, that's nice. That's good.
MV Paolo is starting. We're starting the campaign.
Get
MV
that
Paolo.
on a t-shirt. We got to get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, we definitely getting MV Paolo shirts on Hoop Sense.
That's good.
I'm trying to talk some sense into y'all. Hoop Sense at that. But MV Paolo, start the campaign now. And lastly, the G in the Magic stands for grit.
Oh, okay. You're going to have to talk to Memphis, though. I think you're going to have a conversation with Memphis.
Look, we can match up with Memphis, and it can be a grit and grind session. But at the end of the day, that's the Magic Minute. That's Hoop Sense.
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next episode.